Okay, in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about the Yamaha MG10 XU. Now, I personally purchased this as a way to stream through Facebook or on the internet in general. I was using, for my old gigs, I had a Yamaha EMX2, but it was not what they call a USB mixer, which I found out pretty quick at the beginning of COVID that it wasn't ideal. In fact, it was almost impossible to stream with it, or at least stream with any quality. So I did a bit of research and I came up with a relatively inexpensive unit. Depending on where you live, I think I paid about $250, $260 Canadian for this unit at a Long and McQuaid outlet. It's probably a bit more now, as everything is more now. What I'm going to do here right now is I'm just going to basically walk you through the setup and generally how it works, and then we'll switch over to where you'll hear me live on the mic and guitar that we've set up here on this mixer. So first and foremost, we're going to connect the guitar, and I'm going to select track 2 or channel 2. You can select any channel really for guitars on this unit, as they all have the same. The only thing that 3 and 4 don't have is a compressor, which to be honest, a lot of people have them in their pedal chain, or if they're running this into a DAW, they would use the compressor of the DAW. But if you really want the compressor on your guitar, then you'd have to run it through channel 1 or 2. I'm gonna just for simplicity, I'm just gonna use channel 2 for this video, and I'll put my vocals on channel 1. So, standard instrument cable runs from your guitar, which I'm sure you already know, into track 2. Done. Now we're going to do the same with the microphone. We're going to run the microphone. One end obviously goes into the microphone. I'm using a Sennheiser 935. Can be any microphone. And the other end of your XLR goes into whatever channel you want for your vocals. I'm choosing channel 1 because it has a compressor, which I'm probably more likely to use than I am for the guitar. So basically the flow of this is you have your, like any mixer, you have your strips that run down each channel. We're going to start with your gain, then you have your compression, then you have your 3 EQs, you've got your effects, you've got your pan, which I always put in the middle, unless you're doing anything specialty down the road and you want channel 1 maybe to come out in the left, and then your channel 2. Maybe you've got 2 microphones set up. Maybe you're recording your guitar through the sound hole, so you'll have a left and a right. But other than that, you'll pan to the middle. So basically when you get set up, or when you start to get set up, the first thing you will do, right, is I set, this is the level. So this is whatever settings you choose here, this is the level that they will be sent to the master at. So right now with Yamaha, Unity, there's a little arrow there. So I'm going to go ahead and set that to Unity. And I'm going to turn the unit on, okay? All right, so now we're on, and the first thing I would do is set my gain. So in this case, I would take my microphone, and I would basically simply start talking, and I would look for the LEDs here. So as I increase the gain, you will start to see that the that the LEDs will come up. Now this one, I set my stereo, the level of the master out to unity. So you'll see now that as I increase the gain as I talk, you'll see those lights flashing. I'm not going to tell you where to put them, but I can tell you that generally they say the last, always flashing the majority of the time on the last green under 0. So in this case, it's -6. And as you can tell, as I either bring the microphone closer or move it back, that will change accordingly. But if you're talking or singing and you are, say, 2 inches from the mic, then you want to stay 2 inches from the mic when you do your setup like this. So I'm just talking, and I'm comfortable with that level. You'll see that as the more you turn the gain up, we'll go all the way up, and you'll hear this when I plug in. But you'll also see that down here, there's a peak button, and it's flashing when I'm talking. So that's telling me right there that I'm clipping and I'm not in a good area here. So you'd back off the gain accordingly. Okay. So the reason I haven't plugged in to do this is because you just hear just nasty distortion. So basically, you're going to set it to whatever levels you want to set it at. Same goes with your compression. I'm not here to tell you how much compression to use. That's typically, up to you. You've got your 3 treble, mid, and bass, and you'll play with them accordingly. You've got your FX. Now, how this works is, this is your master FX over here. So this is the type of effects that you'll employ with this white. So right now, the white button is on 0. If right now I'm selected to number 10, which is gate reverb. So if I wanted gate reverb with my microphone and my headphones on, I would talk as I'm talking now, and I would adjust the parameters of that reverb. The more you turn it, the more you're going to hear the effects. The less is the less. So that's the parameter. Then over here, you decide how much of that sound you want to put on that channel. So for me, I would use about that much reverb, and then I would put it at about 9 o'clock. And that is me. Now, if you hear videos of people that sound like they're in a wind tunnel and they like a lot of reverb, usually that's either if you're doing a specialty type of song, or to be honest, you're trying to cover up maybe your vocals, weaknesses in your vocals. That's what it's used. A lot of people use that for. But in this case, that's about the right setting. The pan we talked about, that sends left and right equally. And I've got my unity here. So in the future, as I'm listening back to my recordings, and I might want a little more oomph or a little less, generally you leave the gain where it is and you would adjust that, okay? Up and down as appropriate. Now, if you wanted to dig into the gain a little more, of course you could do that as well. All right, it'll have the same sort of effect. So that basically explains the channel strip and how it relates to vocals. So right now I'm going to put this down. I'm going to plug in my guitar, and then we'll go live, and you can hear the outcome, okay? So we'll put that here. So I'll do the same thing with the guitar track, is that I will put my level to unity, and I will strum my guitar. Now you can see right away the lights, right? I've got my guitar volume turned all the way up. I don't know if there's a right or a wrong, but my theory is send out all the volume you can from the guitar, and then use the mixer to reduce accordingly, as opposed to, well, half volume on the guitar, half volume on the mixer. Like, I just think it's easier, and from experience, it's been easier just to crank the guitar, okay, and then use the gain and the output volume to adjust where you want it to be. So following our guidelines of where it should be. So there's a basic strum the way. Now, if you're into a pick, you're going to be like this. You see the yellow showing up? I play with the flesh of my thumb. So again, that's why I don't want to tell you about levels, because your level will be different than my level, which will be different to his level and her level and on and on and on. But I'm just here to explain how it works so you can figure it out for yourself. So in this case, if I was doing it for myself, I pretty much got what I think is a match to my vocals, in that they're basically green lining and the odd yellow shows up. Okay. So now together, we have guitar and vocals together. Okay. All right, we're going to switch over to live now so you can hear what that sounds like.